Hey, it's Coach Kelsey here, Loudon South Eagles Baseball Club. Welcome back. Today I want to talk about one of my favorite subjects. In fact, it's everybody's favorite subject related to baseball, kind of, particularly if you have a pitcher that plays. Everyone in the world is obsessed with velocity, speed, velo, right? Sometimes you go to the Little League field and you hear that mom screaming out like a lunatic, great velocity. It's good. There's nothing wrong with having great velocity. There's nothing wrong with throwing hard. Throwing hard is good. We like throwing hard. But throw strikes. Give me a pitcher who throws strikes at any speed, and I will pitch that pitcher before anybody else. Period. End of sentence. Now, I'm playing an 18U perfect game tournament, and I've got a 63 mile an hour thrower. Maybe not, right? Maybe, I don't know. Right, there comes a time at which you have to be able to throw multiple pitches and you've got to be able to hit spots. But really, right up through 15 and 16, I'd rather have a guy that throws it right down the middle, literally right down the middle, at any speed, without giving me more than one walk in a game. I love my chances in that game. I love it. Why? Because youth baseball players then have to string together multiple hits in order to score runs. And multiple hits on the big field in particular is quite hard. Now, some will say, hey, Coach Kelsey, aren't you that lunatic guy walking around with that really expensive radar gun, always checking people's speeds out? Yes, I am. Just because I'm interested in how hard people throw and what kind of velocity they have, and comparing velocity for relative ages doesn't mean that I'm velocity obsessed. I'm obsessed with strikes. If you have a pitcher, if you're training a pitcher, you should be working on sound, repeatable mechanics, right? At 8, I literally take a piece of child's chalk and I draw a straight line down the mound. And I say to my pitcher, land straight, throw straight. And that's how we start. We start, obviously, before that with proper mechanics, power pitching position, right? But at the end of the day, get them to throw in a straight line downhill, and we can start working on repeatable mechanics and throwing strikes. If you can throw strikes repeatedly, you can eventually throw strikes on the corners repeatedly. Then we can worry about the second pitch, which frankly ought to be the changeup. If you're teaching anybody a second pitch, the easiest thing to do, not easiest in terms of success, but the best thing to do is to teach them the changeup, right? And guess what? Sometimes in the changeup, in 9, 10, 11, 12, you throw a straight change and the kid does a great job throwing a straight change, and you help out some other hitter and he rips one. And do I care? No, I don't care, because eventually being able to throw a straight change is critical. Then we can show them how to throw the curveball, which frankly is ridiculously easy to teach, right? The changeup's much harder. It's just like skiing. You want someone to ski, put them on skis as early as they can. You want someone to throw the changeup, put them on the changeup as early as you can and get them to get the feel and the grip, right? Throw strikes, change speeds, hit spots, work in and out, up and down. That's really all you need to know about pitching. And in fact, I'm going to have an entire video where I'm just going to go on a complete and total rant about one subject and one subject alone. Throw inside. Just throw inside. Throw inside as a pitcher and reclaim the inside corner from these hitters. You're going to give up a few bombs. Great. No problem. No sweat. Get it in their kitchen and learn how to do it. Okay? But this video is about velocity. It's great. You know what? Your kid's 10 and he throws 65 miles an hour. That's awesome. Very proud. Terrific. Does he walk 7 guys every 2 innings? Because I don't care if he throws 65 or 70 or 90. Give me the guy at 10 years old who throws 47.5 miles an hour and walks no one, I'm going to win more games because I have a competent fielding team behind me. And I'm not going to walk people, and I'm not going to hit people, and I'm not going to have wild pitches, and I'm not going to have people running around the bases like lunatics. Teach your pitchers to throw strikes, right? Coach Obvious is always yelling, come on, throw strikes, right? Well, it is Coach Obvious, but it's not bad if you're working with your pitchers mechanically and they understand the process that they need to go through to have repeatable mechanics and throw strikes. That's what you should be doing. And guess what? If you have a strike thrower with some extra velocity, that's great. Again, I love velocity. Velocity makes up for mistakes, but it only helps you if you can throw for strikes, right? You can miss down the middle in the major leagues with a 98 mile an hour fastball more than you can miss with a 91 mile an hour fastball. You won't have to pay the price. And those same principles apply at every level. I get that. But if you're going to walk 2 and 3 guys an inning and hit one and throw 3 wild pitches, you're going to hit the mascot, you're going to bounce 2 fastballs in the dirt, right? And at the end of the game, some parent comes up and goes, oh, my guy struck out 8 guys in 3 innings. Yeah, he walked 7, hit 3, and gave up 11 runs. Great. Congratulations. You've got a really good pitcher, right? Build pitchers. Don't reward throwers. I want to be clear about this for coaches, not so much for parents. I know you're all obsessed with the kid that throws hard. I just faced a kid this weekend, 8U. He threw pretty hard. He was pretty good. He actually was around the plate. That was a very impressive thing for a young man. But this obsession with size, this obsession with speed, this obsession with velocity, it's unhealthy because you're rewarding kids for throwing hard when you're not rewarding them for pitching. It's a whole different ballgame to send a kid out there and let him just chuck it than to teach your players how to pitch. Because at some point they'll grow into men and they'll be strong. And they'll throw as hard as they're capable of throwing, particularly if they work smart and if they do everything they can to up their velocity, right? But we all have a certain velocity ceiling. Some kids are gifted with a bigger arm than others. Why don't we teach them all how to pitch from the very beginning? And then those with the high-end velocity will be even more successful. And why don't we reward these strike throwers? There's lots of them out there. Throw me strikes. My own 16U has had a bedeviling experience. He's got great, he has above average velocity for his age. And certainly for his stature. He's 149 pounds, and he clips right around 80 at top speed. That's not bad, right? That's pretty good for a 149-pound kid. But he gets great movement on his ball. A lot of that's natural movement. That's even more important, right? But for years, he couldn't control any of this stuff. And so you'd wind up with 3 hit batsmen, 2 walks, 3 wild pitches. And the next thing you know, you'd look down and you'd have some strikeouts. And you'd have a lot of runs, and those don't help. Now, in the last year or 2, he has found much better command with repeatable mechanics, with better arm slot, with consistency, with maturity. Now he's got 4 pitches. He commands them most of the time, which is pretty good. And as a result, he gets a lot of people out. And when he doesn't get people out, he doesn't have 2 guys on base, one via walk and one via hit batsman. That's a big deal. Work with these pitchers. Don't let your parents get obsessed with velocity. Don't let your assistant coaches get obsessed with velocity. It's great to have hard throws, and it's fine to check out and see, arm strength-wise, who's got what. After you take that information down, which a lot of times can be seen by eyesight, but it's great. If you've got a gun, I've got a gun, right? People now have the apps. They pop by the little gizmos, right? I got the super expensive, top of the line, no BS gun, right? Why do I have it? Somebody gave it to me. I didn't go out and buy it. So I have this gizmo, and I do like to take speeds. But you know what? They tell me one thing. They tell me what a person's capable of in terms of throwing the ball. They don't tell me anything about whether or not they can pitch. Velocity is good, but velocity does not make you a pitcher. Pitching makes you a pitcher. And by the way, keep this in mind. Great mechanics often leads to much stronger and better velocity when these young men grow into actual men. So, give up the obsession with hard throwers and become obsessed with teaching proper mechanics. You'll have more success as a team. Your players will have more success on the mound, and we can get down to the business of teaching young players how to pitch rather than simply rewarding the kid that throws a little bit harder because he throws hard, right? Let's make pitchers. Let's not make throwers. And whatever you do, if you got a strike thrower, show it to the rest of the team, including the parents, including the coaches. Show that you will reward strike throwers because it's important for the kids who throw hard to learn to work harder on throwing strikes. That's what I've got for today. We'll be back again with some more words of wisdom, or really just rants and opinions of a crazy man in his kitchen. But again, velocity is good. Strikes are better. Period. End of sentence. Teach them to pitch. Anyone can throw.